Welcome back, everybody, to the Nerd Course 4 for 4 interview series where I bring on guests from the film industry and hopefully get to ask four questions and maybe get four answers or more, depending on the person and how they're feeling that day, and see where that goes. Today, we have Jason Karman, director of Golden Delicious, a film that is premiering in a lot of festivals, from what I'm hearing and from what I've seen on the badges that they have acquired. But for our circumstances, we are covering VIFF 2022, and that is where we got a chance to get an interview with Jason. How are you, Jason?
I'm doing really good. Yeah, it's been a busy morning, but I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, I get the busyness. This entire weekend has been chaotic, to say the least. But yeah, so you're the director of Golden Delicious. So why don't you give us a little synopsis about the film?
Absolutely. Golden Delicious is a coming of age drama set in the social networking era, and it's about an Asian Canadian teen who is trying to manage his father's dreams, his
Hmm.
girlfriend's expectations, and then his
Hmm.
newly awakened feelings for the guy next door.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, definitely that. I know the IMDb page for the people that might not have like the full press kit. It's more run down to a coming of age film. So that's why I always want to get like the director or producer or writer's synopsis of the film. But yeah, like you said, it deals with a lot of things. I did a little research about you, and I know this is well, it is your from the press kit, it is your first feature debut, but it is not your first directorial debut. So you've had from the research that I've done 20-ish short films done, right?
I've done, yeah, about 17 or a little bit more. I don't know if
Mm,
there's anything else that I've missed. But but yeah, it's something that I've been building up towards.
mm-hmm,
I think that the opportunity to direct a feature film is rare and unique, and I
mm-hmm.
didn't want to squander that opportunity. So, I made sure that I had a chance to really understand the process and refine my understanding of filmmaking, so that I can lead a great team and tell a worthwhile story.
Yeah. Would you say that the experience between the short films that you've done and this feature were the same like building blocks, quote unquote, to a like a bone to the run of the mill structure wise, or what is it completely different experience for you?
It's a completely different experience. It's all about sustainability,
Hmm.
and for a short film, um, you can operate with not a lot of sleep, very little money for a
Yeah.
short amount of time, right? But with a feature, it's much longer.
Hmm.
You do have to think about the well-being of not only yourself but everybody else.
Of course.
People need breaks, and so organizing a shoot of that length is important. Knowing what knowing the in and out of every scene is important because yeah, you will be tested in while doing shoot, and that test is about, do we really need this scene?
Yeah.
We're running out of time. The weather's turning. So can we fold in things so if you understand your scene completely, then you can make those quick, intense choices, which I feel like I've been able to be based on all the experiences I've had coming up to
Mm.
this point.
Oh, that's good to hear because I know, like, for me, when I first went into just not film school but like the film courses that we had in my college, the things that they teach you are very just basic of like this would what might run down, but they never tell you the differences between like doing your shorts and doing like an actual feature film, right? So it's good to hear that you at least were able to manage the whole difference between the two. um but I did want to also ask, I know the films that you've done, or from what I've got on your IMDb page was it also deals with similar things that this film Golden Delicious is about, like coming of age, experiencing one's sexuality, or just overall life, unexpected life turnouts, you know. I know you had one about an Uber driver that kind of is lonely and deals with that, and then you had another one where it's like uh two men are like kind of figuring out how to go on through life with a relationship, and then there's a good amount of others that I was really interested in some. And I wanted to ask, with this film, I know from my understanding you did not have much to do with the writing, right? Or did you?
I know I didn't write the feature that
Mm-hmm.
is done by Gorman Lee,
Mm-hmm.
who is an outstanding writer, and he's also currently associated with some Netflix shows.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so um, I I wanted to collaborate
Mm-hmm.
with a writer going into this project because of how intense it'll be.
Yeah.
Like I know, like going through this process of making short films, I recognize some of my strengths and weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I can write. It takes me a while to write, and so I'm better at making things happen, connecting, uh, fundraising,
Mm-hmm.
so that kind of stuff,
Okay.
right? So I decided to focus in on that and
Mm-hmm.
invited other people to help me realize the project. So first it was Gorman being the writer, and then it was Kristen being the producer. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
s- uh, so there's a certain level of trust between the two, and I think that's necessary.
Of course.
Um, Going into filmmaking, we have to be able to trust, and then also learn to let go of things. Sometimes we're so focused in on working um, passionately with our projects that we forget that perhaps it could be misconstrued in a certain way, or there might be a different approach to something,
Mhm.
uh, just because we get so married into a process or look, right?
Yeah.
So that's the advantage of being able to collaborate with those two. And shout out also to my editor, Mike Jackson, who is an essential person in the pacing of the film. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, it worked out really well. And I bring that up because the film, like you mentioned, deals with a lot of just heavy stuff that like some kids actually have to deal with, from discovering that their parents might separate because of, oh well, spoiler alert for the people that haven't seen it, but but the Jake discovering the dad's infidelity and stuff, and finding out like after he's gone through the whole, like he's his sexual awakening is happening, and he's like accepting himself being a gay man, in a world where it's like kind of still, from my understanding, in that social media where we're still like kind of shunned, or like you gotta keep quiet about it. And then just the whole parental approval that you long for, you know. I know like those some of those topics in the Latino community, specifically the Mexican community, which is what I'm from. um a lot of people struggle with coming out because it's kind of shunned in our community, and a lot of people don't want to say it is, but it really is. As well as there's like sometimes parents become disconnected with the kid, and there's like a weird, we long for the approval, but they have a weird way of showing it, and it's just a whole mess in that sense. But yeah, you pulled the film's direction very well, and it doesn't feel overbearing on any each one, you know. Sometimes some people can mash it together, and it'll feel like they're making one thing more important than the other, but this one just feels eloquently just even, and it just makes it feel that more realistic, that more like a realization that, oh, this actually happens to people, you know. Which I just wanted to commend and praise you for it, because it was well done. I watched it like at 6 in the morning because I woke up early for whatever reason, and yeah, that was the first thing I watched in the morning, and it made the day go into a better route. um but from the questions that I have, those are two of the more serious stuff, things that I bring up. I do have one that I try to add for like fun little questionnaires, trivia type thing. And for the people that don't know, in film, there's like an unspoken rule, from my understanding, when you do specifically action or stunt relating stuff, where when a stunt actor or actor themselves get hurt doing a scene, you kind of have to add the scene to the final product. And the reason I bring this up is because in Golden Delicious, for the people that have seen it and don't know what I'm talking about, there's a basketball montage when they first go out to practice, and one of Jake's friends, I believe, gets hit in the face by one of the co-stars, one of the team members. And I wanted to ask, was that like a thing that was planned? Was that an accident? Because it looked like he apologized immediately as it happened, but it was still in character, so it just fit the scene and just makes it more tender and more reality driven. So can you give us a little insight of that if it is by accident?
That was the real accident. Yeah. In the script, they're called for like a slip or an accident of some sort,
Okay.
and we uh, I I'm not that I was counting on an accident to happen,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right? But I wanted to get the cast kind of worked up in a real drill,
Yeah.
right? And get them playing first before we started focusing in on or framing that accident. But through the process of getting worked up, a real accident did happen,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
one of the co-stars did get knocked down, and he was such a real sport, Hunter Dillon, and he got back up, as you can see, right?
Yeah.
Everybody just reacted like, oh my God, is he okay? And he's like, yeah, I'm okay. So Hunter's is a wonderful guy. He has such a great sense of humor,
Mhm.
um, and yeah, I would work with him again. So absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned that like he fell and it was like he's okay, okay. I think part of that is in the actual film, if I remember correctly. It was like after I think someone asked, maybe it sounded like the coach, but it might have been you. It was like, "Hey, are you good? Are you good?" And he was like, "Yeah, yeah, I'm good. I'm fine. Let's keep going." And it just fits so well. Like, did he mean keep going in practice, or did he mean the actual scene? But yeah, I mean,
That was the coach that said that.
okay, okay, okay,
Everyone was
yeah.
in character still. It's like, oh,
Yeah, dude, it worked so well, and it definitely was a funny scene where I was like, I kind of know what it is, but that's because I'm more involved in the film industry, so maybe like if my sister were to watch, who rarely sees movies, will she realize that's an accident or not? But glad nobody got hurt, and it was just all fun. But I did, for my last question, it just a broad one. Being that you've done a lot of projects and that you yourself have learned things in this feature film, what would be one thing you recommend to young directors that not only are like just coming up, but just young directors that are barely getting into their college course for film directing, who are also a minority, and then b like also in a minority group, that just wants to create, not necessarily like a coming of age, but just in general, what would you recommend, or what tip or piece of advice would you give?
uh, I I think the advice that I have is um, be be selective in the kind of stories that you decide to commit to. I mean, there's so
Hmm.
many options, so many different pathways, but
Definitely.
you only have so many chances uh, to make a mark,
Hmm.
and so yeah, the films that you do put out, they do define you in some way. So
Hmm.
so be selective in what you want to commit to, and then surround yourself with like-minded allies. I think it's really important. uh, in, uh, in, Ask for references, interview people, don't just take people's word for it, saying that yeah, they can do it, or
Hmm.
you choose someone because it's the cheapest or the easiest. Ask the why. Like, why do you want to work with me? Why do I want to work with you? Right? Um, Especially when you're starting out,
Mm,
don't have a lot of money, and there's and so all of us are volunteering our time,
yeah.
and we're going to be in very close and intense situations. So I think it's important to find out the why, and that way you can understand how where people are coming from, what makes them click, right? Because you're building future relationships, and and there's only so much time, in my opinion. So
That's yeah, yeah, that's true. Just in general with life, because anything comes unexpected. I know a couple of people that I was gonna interview got sick, so they were like, "Oh no, don't worry about it," because they were like stressing about it, like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I can't come on." But yeah, I agree with you. It's definitely a thing of like, especially references, because a lot of films that want to speak into very important topics kind of miss the point sometimes because they don't reference, they go off of their own experience. So I would say that as well. But I mean, I mean, knowing that you're a teacher as well, they seem like they're in good hands with that piece of advice, so lucky them. But that's all I had for questions. I think I had others, but I might have clicked on the wrong word page that I have. So instead of looking for it, I'll just leave it at that. Hopefully none of the questions that I asked were repeated of past interviews if you've done any so far. Um awesome. The head shake is very
great,
reaffirming.
Louis. I was gonna say
Awesome.
you've been great, Louis. You have incredible charisma and rapport. You make me feel very welcome and comfortable. So I
Oh,
think
thank
that's
you.
really important.
Thank you so much for that. Very, very reassuring because I always come on these nervous every time. It doesn't matter how many of the I've done. It's always like just nerve-wracking. But yeah, I mean, thank you for giving me a piece of your time and day. And I hope we get to see Golden Delicious out soon. Is the tour anywhere near done, or like the press tour, or just
It's
film
just
circuit? There we go.
it's just starting. So
Oh, okay.
after our world in Seattle at the
Ooh.
Seattle Queer Film Festival,
Mhm.
and Boston Asian, Toronto Real World, and then Austin Film Festival as well. So,
I'm in
and I
Houston. Hey.
Austin. So, yeah. So there's a big writers conference as part of the Austin Film Festival. So maybe I'll see you there.
I mean, hopefully, there's so many events that my boss just keeps stacking up. I gotta ask for a day off. But thank you again so much for coming on. This has been the Nerd Course 4 for 4. That's all the questions I have for this one. Join us for the next one and see what we get on the insights on there. We'll see if any other actors got hurt during the scene and it just played so well. But yeah, enjoy the rest of your day, Jason, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.
Peace. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, yes. Okay, brochures.
And
I
the
promise.
other thing.
Yeah, and the other thing. Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, shit. Sorry, I didn't see you there. It's my bad.
You live across the alley, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
Yeah, moving in on Labor Day, huh?
Yeah, not by choice, believe me.
Dude, you look lost.
I am.
You are.
Yeah.
You are.
Yeah. Sorry. Did I see that? Yeah.
Oof, Mr. Roberts? That's brutal. Trust me. Final bell's about to go. Follow me.